So MoneyGram, Lulu Exchange, they've put them on, and again, Lulu Exchange. They're out of, headquarters in Abu Dhabi. And again, these areas, Bahrain and UAE, and they're very, very, very wealthy. So how many clients do Lulu Exchange, have? If they use MoneyGram, then Lulu Exchange clients are also using MoneyGram, okay? Which effectively, MoneyGram, becomes Ripple and XRP clients. The clients of Ripple's 300 clients, and their clients become effectively Ripple XRP clients. Their clients have clients, right? There was a release of a lot of XRP, which went to Chris Larson's wallet. And again, HSBC, there's obviously a compelling case to use distributed ledger technology, of course, when you look at the fees that HSBC is charging, or any bank for that matter in terms of foreign currency. It's just outrageous. Okay, so XRP's performance has been absolutely stellar, which means stellar in my language, means fantastic. Their growth for wallets is up 32%, bigger than anyone's growth, okay? Last year in Google, XRP was the most Google crypto out there, over and above Bitcoin, and that tells you something. Again, someone said, there was something on FFX Street. This was from crypto, what's his name? Joe Katz. His Twitter name basically said that you can't stop a valid transaction from executing. The network is decentralized. It's very hard for someone to write different code, because you would have to get control of literally the majority of 12,000 or more nodes, which is what Ripple technology has, okay? And that would be very difficult to do. Very difficult to do. So more usage. We see that Ripple's usage, XRP's usage is increasing, 650%, massive. Again, Brad Garlinghouse said that he would, they're going to go to an IPO within the next 12 months. And look, that is a natural progression of technology companies. What do you think Facebook did? What do you think Microsoft did? What do you think Amazon did? What do you think Uber did? They all go to IPO. They all do an equity raising. It's a natural progression of what companies do. It gets them on the radar, right? And people said, if they do an IPO, it's not going to be good for XRP. Those people have no idea. They've got nuts in their head, because seriously, it's going to be great for XRP. People have no idea. Seriously, they honestly don't have any idea. People should, if they don't have the background, they don't have the knowledge, they should not say anything. Seriously, because, again, I've said this before, I don't know anything about cars, right? I know nothing about cars. I know nothing about the mechanics of cars. Do you think I'm going to come on YouTube and talk about the mechanics of cars when I know nothing about the mechanics of cars? I always say to everyone, don't take notice of anyone unless you know what their background is. Look on LinkedIn, which is a professional networking site for people that work in professional, jobs. Look at their academic background. Look at where they've worked. What's someone going to know if they've never worked, in financial markets, about settlement systems, wholesale settlement systems, not, the mums and dads with, credit cards and things. They're not going to know anything, right? What are they going to know? Seriously, you've got to look at the background of someone. Otherwise it's just garbology as far as I'm concerned. Absolute garbology. Seriously. I'm cranky today, definitely. But anyway, sometimes you wake up that way, sometimes you don't. Fair income. So, I got harassed when I said they're going to go to IPO. People laughed at me. They've laughed at me for a lot of things, but I know my stuff, babes. And seriously, if you're not going to listen to me, you're not going to listen to anyone. All those picture ambassadors were getting paid $100 for a referral, even Crypto Airy and a few others. That young guy, Cobalt, his name is, right? That's what my clients told me. And honestly, you know what my thoughts are about Bit True. I wouldn't touch it with a pole, man. And I get trashed because I tell people the truth. I don't get paid by anyone to say, hey guys, put your money with this crowd for 8%. I mean, when you run the risk of losing your coins, you got to be kidding me, seriously. Anyway, let's get back to the IPO. IPO is a great story, right? It's awesome, and that's what normal technology companies that are best of breed do. Okay, that's what they do. That's what you do in professional financial markets, and Ripple's management are very professional and they know what they're doing. Now, this was my thoughts on Twitter, because there was a lot of people out there saying, oh, this is bad and whatever, and they didn't know anything, right? I have a Twitter handle, that you can look at. You can find it. It gives them billions of dollars. It gets them more clients, investors, and institutional clients. It gets them professional fund managers, investment managers. 4, it gives them worldwide scale. 5, gives them alternative funding sources, apart from crypto, which is a funding source, debt, which is a funding source, 200 million in bond issuance, and now they're going to do equity, an IPO, initial public offering, right? Allows them more ability to grow their balance sheet. They can increase their asset base by buying more businesses. If Ripple have 100 billion or 120 billion of cash, think about what they can buy. Seriously, people are that stupid. They have so much money to buy anything. They could literally, go and buy half a bank or 25% of a bank. I mean, these guys could do anything and get people to use XRP, right? They could buy back XRP, and burn it. Anyone can buy back XRP and burn it. Like XRP has been lost. 3 billion's been lost. Someone lost their private key when they died. That'll never be found again. If you have ownership of XRP, you can do what you like with it. You can burn it, you can lose it, you can not have it come back to the market in the circulating volume, okay? So they could do anything they like with XRP. They could do an asset swap, as I've said, between XRP and the equity, which I believe is what they should do, okay? So if you look at my FlixChimp, or if you join my Patreon for $45, you get the whole detail of that asset swap and why it is good for XRP holders, okay? For $45 a month, which is bugger all. You get access to my Slack, you get access to my Udemy first course, and you get access to part of my new valuation for XRP. You get a lot of information for $45, and believe me, you can ask any of my clients. You get a wealth of information, and you can learn a wealth of information for $45 a month. We're not talking sheep stations here, and it's incredible value, seriously, because I don't want the wealthy just to get access to learning it. I want everyone. I came from poverty. I want people to have the opportunity to learn regardless of their balance, their cash balance. Okay? And that's how I get paid. I don't get paid any other way, and I work 18 hours a day to do it. So, what are we up to? They could buy more exchanges, right? More businesses that force and say to people, right, we're going to buy, we're going to put money into, but you've got to use XRP, right? Businesses with influence. They could buy what's that company that's in competition with MoneyGram? Western Union. They could buy anyone like that. A company with millions and millions and millions of clients that have to use XRP, right? As I said, they can pretty much invest in anything that increases the utility of XRP. They can do, they can change their funding mix between crypto, debt, and equity. You do a crypto ICO, you get money in. You do a debt issue, you get money in. You do an equity issue, you get money in, right? They want to become regulated. So again, they could buy something that's already regulated. They could buy something that's regulated, like a Coinbase, for example. They don't have to get regulated themselves. They could do a backdoor listing. They could buy something that's already regulated, right? Already has a banking license, whatever. It basically exposes them to millions and millions of different clients and investors globally, all over the world, gives them more money to expand strategically with more resources and people all over the world. They become the company of best breed. Everyone wants to work at Ripple, everyone. And so they get the best talent, technically and technology-wise and, you know, development-wise and, you know, cryptography-wise, right? So, you know, they become the company that everyone wants to work at, and the technology becomes best of breed even more so. So they're running like, you know, like a bolt, whereas every other company out there or cryptocurrency is slow as slow, right? You know, it gives them huge sales and marketing distribution, right? More channels to sell XRP. Gives them huge tax benefits, tax arbitrage, right? And so on. Do I need to go on? Anyone that thinks it's bad, Ripple doing an IPO, initial public offering, have no idea. You know, seriously, just don't have any idea at all. Then, you know, people are really frustrated about obviously how long it takes. But look, like Chris Larsen said, you know, we're at basically 1995 in the tech boom, you know, of 1999, you know, and, you know, the tech boom, we all know how it happened there. People made themselves fortunes, right? You know, this is going to be faster than that because we have the internet and we, you know, things are going to get out quicker. You know, this will be faster, but people need to be patient. As I said to this person, you know, 1.2% of the world are in crypto, right? You know, great companies like Facebook, Amazon, Google, Apple, Microsoft took time. You know, I didn't know who Google was in 1994. You know, I remember someone saying to me in 1999, do you know Google search engine? I didn't have a clue. You know, someone mentioned to me Facebook. I didn't know who Facebook were. You know, again, I didn't know who Facebook was. You know, it was obviously slower in Australia than it was in the US. You know, but these things do take a longer time than we all want. And yes, it's really frustrating because I'm a holder too, but I have absolute faith that eventually when the market becomes more professional, that the valuation of XRP will be the more correct valuation than where it is now. Absolutely. Like Michael Harrington said, disregard FUD around Ripple IPO. It's healthy and it's awesome. And this guy knows. He's a professional, just like me. And of course it is. Anyone says it's not, it's just has no idea. Again, you know, more liquidity. You know, they've also launched the Australian liquidity story. And, you know, us Australians are pretty smart. We have to be. Because we're a very small population of people, 24 million. And we have to be very clever. Because to get noticed by the rest of the world, it's just that simple, right? You know, in Australia already we're getting more and more. You know, a lot of people know how good Ripple is an XRP. It's just a given, man, and it's going to get bigger and bigger. Sorry, I knew this was going to take a long time. Sorry about this. My apologies. You know, again, SEC know about Ripple, right? I mean, it's awesome that they do. You know, it's just a great story. What else we got here? Ibix Cash. Again, it's another business, more clients for MoneyGram. And as I said, the more clients MoneyGram puts on, the more clients Ripple have. You know, and it's more usability. They're in this Indian remittance market. Doesn't surprise me. It's the biggest in the world. And the Indians definitely need cheap remittance rather than from the traditional providers. Transfer Go, again, this client is in 69 new countries with different payment services. Ripple are with them, but their liquidity is increasing all the time. You know, again, these guys are in Africa, the Middle East. Well, Ripple's in every place it needs to be. That's a fact. If we look at this, there's some other thing that I'm not sure what this is, but I know Vitsavinder's behind this. It's a Zoom developer that Vitsavinder's doing. And again, it's just another usage of XRP. It's a crypto payments app and wallet in one, right? So great things are happening. Great things are happening, always. What else we got? MoneyGram put on another client. It's a Ukraine bank called the Industrial Bank, right? and expanding with them. You know, now I looked up the Ukraine bank because Ukraine is a very large country with about 47 million people, I think. So the World Bank says that Ukraine, this bank received, it's a $14 billion, Ukraine received a record value of $14 billion in remittance in 2018, and it's gone up by 17%. And this bank, you know, is quite a large bank in the UK. So this is a great story. You know, they're in the remittance market in Ukraine, and it's one of the largest remittance markets in the world, Ukraine, in Central Europe and Eastern Europe, right? So that's a really, really good story. Again, someone said here, Eric Dadoon, that, you know, XRP is on the verge of mass adoption. And the Ripple people say the same thing, and I believe that, okay? I do believe that. Also, there's something about XRP for freelancers, 500,000 freelancers, and something about, let me just go back, I just missed something here. Something about Japanese mega bank, Mitsui Bank, tap, and something to do with XRP as well. Okay, so really, it's just a great story. Brianne Manigan, institutional grade infrastructure for cryptocurrency, she said we're at the critical point here, the critical point where we're going to see exponential acceleration. In other words, it's just going to accelerate. If that's the case, you're going to get a move in that price. There's no doubt about it, okay? Also, another exchange, Smart Valor crypto exchange, a Swiss company, has added XRP to its trading platform. And when an exchange adds XRP to its trading platform, it means it has to buy XRP, okay? Because it needs to provide XRP for its clients. So it's always a good story. They have to provide XRP for their clients. They need to hold an amount of XRP, which is great, which adds more utility to XRP. And this exchange will have clients, and it means that more clients are using XRP. The Aussie company, which we know about, Flash FX, this guy knows what he's talking about, Nicholas Snyder. He basically says, you know, people have no idea, you know, how to value XRP, and it's very undervalued. This guy's seriously switched on. You know, he's saying it's undervalued, you know, and they don't understand how to value XRP, you know, and, you know, I agree with him, absolutely. Also, you know, cashless settlement, cashless market, you know, cashless society, and I believe that SBI Group came out with that. But not only that, think about the coronavirus. You know, we've seen people in China not wanting to handle cash, you know, and they've got gloves on, they're spraying cash because they're really concerned about spreading the coronavirus, right? Where literally, you know, there's 35,000 people that are now reported with, and it's global. You know, cash is very dirty and it's very, you know, germy. You know, you can get a lot from, you know, a lot of germs from cash. So I think, you know, basically that's the way it's going anyway. You know, and certainly from a viral perspective, you know, you don't want to be handling cash. And it's interesting because you saw it on the video where the Chinese were very concerned, particularly the girls that had to cash the cash, you know, pick it up, were very concerned about touching it, which I don't blame them, because apparently the virus sits on something for 5 days, you know, 5 days, which is pretty amazing. It doesn't go, just sits there for 5 days, which is scary. MoneyGram announced also another, they went into the Singapore market, and you know, Singapore's a very wealthy country. It's very close to Australia, about 8 hours away. I've been there many times. A lot of high net worths in Singapore, a lot. And a lot of them come from China, and they have a lot of remittance. It's a 7.2 billion yearly outflow, considering the country is so small. I think it's like 22, I know it's very small. But they have a lot of high net worth wealth there, and you know, they're in that market, which is very interesting to me. Then, you know, we got this thing about, you know, Novogratz saying something about XRP not being a lackluster. Again, more, you know, garbology, because as Garlinghouse said, XRP's outperformed every other crypto, and it continues to, and it will. And I agree with Brad Garlinghouse, to be perfectly honest with you. So next one we've got here is the Regulators and McCaleb. There's a group called Market Integrity Working Group, spearheaded by 2 executives at Coinbase and Ripple advisors who go to the US regulators for crypto-friendly policies, which they want. But they're also trying to increase, obviously, to get these crypto-friendly regulations and obviously explain, how the technology works. And there's these working programs that they're working with the regulators all the time. Now, McCaleb apparently has sold a lot of his XRP and apparently he only has $1 billion to go, which is a good story. And basically, Ripple on-demand liquidity and XRP has increased by 20% this year in Mexico alone, which is fantastic. So that's a great story in itself. Okay, wonderful story. Brinks, another client investor. Brinks has invested in MoneyGram. So MoneyGram will receive an investment from Brinks of $9 million. Now, Brinks is a very big company. It's an American private security and protection company that's in Virginia, and they have like 62,000 employees, and it's been around for a long time, 1859. So obviously has a very good reputation, very well known. They would also have clients, which is a great story. And the fact that you've got a New York Stock Exchange company that's listed on the exchange investing in MoneyGram, and Ripple also own MoneyGram, plus investing effectively. Brinks is investing in also Ripple's technology, gives a vote of confidence to Ripple's technology. Okay, it really does. Brinks has a global network of operations in 41 countries that serves customers in over 100 different countries all over the world, right? So these guys, are probably, going to tell people to use MoneyGram, which effectively uses Ripple's technology and XRP. More clients. You see what I'm saying? Clients upon clients build more clients, right? Brinks invested in MoneyGram. Brinks has clients. MoneyGram has clients. Brinks has clients. Brinks will tell them to buy MoneyGram and invest in MoneyGram, and then it becomes XRP. And so more usability, because Brinks clients will ultimately be using MoneyGram and XRP, which is a great story. Okay, so we've got more here. Gosh, this is going for a long time. My apologies. There's a new partnership with Intermex, a network of institutional payment providers that want a payment solution using Ripple's technology. Where are they? They're focused in Latin and the Caribbean corridor, which is super. What else we got? More. Golly, there's so much here, isn't there? Every month there's just more and more and more. Ripple's amazing, okay? This tax service provider, Refundo, said that customers can now receive state or federal tax refunds in XRP. Wow, that's amazing. If that's the case, you've even got the states and federal refunding in XRP they're even using. I find that incredible, if that's right. And then there's new crypto working groups with both Ripple and Coinbase to get more knowledge and accountability and understanding of Blockbase, which is great. And Rachel Nelson and Brianna Madigan are these two people which are doing this to try and get more commitment by the SEC and the government to go into cryptocurrency technology. So that's a really good story. Addressing the regulation and all that sort of stuff. Wow, amazing. Okay, so Ripple XRP is also, and mentioned by this, are going into gaming, and effectively when they expand into gaming or anything else, they're effectively a Tron competitor as well. Not only are they a competitor for ICOs with Ethereum or Ethereum Classic or anyone that can do ICOs like Neo or any of those platforms, or EOS or anyone else, they're a competitor of all those, and Tron for gaming and the like. So that's it, guys. I'm really sorry about it being so long, and I'm very sorry for being cranky, but I just get very tired sometimes. I guess I work too hard. And anyway, I hope you're all well. Please do look after yourself. Please look after your putty cats, your friends. Actually, I'm feeling really tired at the moment. I need a coffee. Please look after your putty cats and your animals. Please just be kind and nice to people in the world, because I'm really tired of horrible people. Anyway, guys, thank you all for your support. I really appreciate it. And just have faith. Thank you. This is not financial advice. It's education only. Thank you.